Hello, my name is Gabriel Casals, and I'm here to present what changes leadership and management in remote teams. Talk a bit about myself. I'm currently a software engineer manager at a startup named Rocket Chat, but I also have 10 years of work experience on remote teams. I have experience managing projects, big and small, for startups and for big multinational companies. And why should you listen to this lecture? Why are we here today? Basically, remote teams is a very hot topic. 2, 3 years with COVID and the accelerated digital transformation and the use of virtual teams, not necessarily they were made or built on the proper way. So understanding some insights and key concepts from leading and management for virtual teams can be an interesting topic for you, and you definitely can pick up some tips that I'll be sharing here today to use on your day-to-day and future endeavors. The agenda, some concepts, some very important basic concepts, traditional versus remote teams, and also the famous tips that I just mentioned. And what are remote teams? There are different definitions. The academy doesn't get to a common ground. The first there, I think, is more related to remote work. And the last one I really enjoy and was the one I used to base this lecture. Work arrangements where team members are geographically dispersed, have limited face-to-face contact, and work interdependently through the use of electronic communication media to achieve common goals. So, people with common goals connected through the internet using different hardware and software to deliver their work. There are different challenges of working with remote teams. 1 in 3 executives say that virtual teams are poorly managed in comparison to co-allocated teams. And this seems to still be aligned based on the different comments I receive from day to day. Trends mentioning people just don't work very well when working remotely. I just don't get the same results from the same people, or I'm not sure where these or that person, that individual are, and I can't get results. And mostly communication, how we process information, how we share this information, how we condense and share knowledge in the company, and how to deal with these cultural aspects. All these are key challenges for remote teams and related to management and leadership of them. It's not easy to get a good grip of just management and leadership. I think John Cotter did very well on his book, A Force for Change. And he split management and leadership into 3 areas: management being planning and budgeting, organizing and staffing, controlling and problem solving. Leadership more on establishing mission and vision, aligning and influencing the team, and making sure you have motivated the individuals so that they can achieve and deliver on results. So focus, people, and activities split between the 2 areas. When we are looking at management and leadership on traditional and remote teams, the principles are the same. So when we think about management, when we think about leadership, the focus on people, the focus on sharing a mission, on having a budget, making sure you have aligned people, that people are being able to communicate, that they are structured on squads, that their activities are controlled and produce results, that you know what these results are. These principles didn't change. What changes is more deep on the day-to-day of these items and how you balance the spirit on those, how you balance your focus on those. So, principles the same. What changes? Items from the left column are just more important than the items on the right column. You won't forget the ones on the right. It's just make sure you give attention to the ones on the left. First one being leadership focus. Make sure you share a vision and mission with your team. That's more important than going on line by line of a planned structure with them. So mission and vision, they have to understand the job to be done so that they can do the job properly. Make sure you are focused on their deliverables and that you have metrics for those deliverables. That's much more important than checking their day-to-day details. Will not be around them. You don't know what time they get to the office, what time they leave the office, what they're doing on in between those times, what meetings they have attended, where they're coming from, where they're going to. You won't see that. So stop trying to see that. Make sure you have them focus on specific goals and that you have items and means to evaluate if these goals are being met and items are being delivered. Make sure you are thinking multiculturally, not with just a common culture. Emojis might be interpreted in different ways. Words might be understood on different ways depending on the country. The Spanish from Spain, from Argentina, from Colombia, from El Salvador, words are different. They might be the same words but mean very different things. Even in Brazil, if you're saying a word on a count on a place, it might not be the same on another region. So think on a multicultural way to avoid embarrassments and miscommunication. Be adaptive on your communication. Think of the ways you are communicating with your team and what means you should be using. If it's synchronous or asynchronous communication, not always face-to-face time, getting people to a meeting, getting people on a phone will work. So make sure you are adapting your communication to the different individuals and to the different means on synchronous and asynchronous. Resources change a bit, how you think them on them change a bit. Not everyone was fit for remote work. So make sure when you're hiring, you see people with good communication skills, high emotional intelligence, and ability to work independently. And when you're thinking about resources, that you have the proper resources to work on this virtual environment. Make sure you give to the team proper hardware and software so that they can work and produce the expected results. In terms of tips, digitalize, especially if a portion of your team is co-located and the others are remote. Make sure you are digitalizing, that all the communication that's done in the office is also translated and shared online with the team. If you have tools for managing the different events of the day-to-day, like a Kanban board or daily meetings or a design session or retro, those should be digital. This makes a huge difference. Everything that you can digitalize, think of ways of digitalizing that and making it available online for everyone. Have a social contract. People might have different understanding of things, times, not be sure on how to communicate depending on events. Having a social contract will really help you with that, having a common understanding. Make sure every person, even if it's from the same company and just joined your team, they take a look on your social contract and they visit it, because different teams, different dynamics, things can change. So have a social contract, make sure it's known by your team. Keeps goals visible, make sure people understand the goals, that you're mentioning goals from time to time. The more people understand and know the jobs that need to be done, the more focused they will be on these jobs. This is more important on remote teams than it is on local teams, because you are not seeing people on a day-to-day. So make sure goals are visible. They need to know there are goals and which goals they should be checking to or aiming for. So keep goals as a number one. Connect to people. If you don't really connect to people, people will leave your company. So make sure you have one-on-ones, make sure you give them feedback, that you care about them personally, and that they feel that you're caring about them. The more you connect to them and have them connect with each other with a common culture and communication style, the better it will be to retain them on your company and make things work and really build trust within them. And of course, continuous learning. This is always important, especially when dealing with multicultural teams and remote teams. That was my content for today. If you have any questions, please send them to my mail. I really appreciate being here, and good luck with the other items on the event. Bye bye for now, and take care.